Nzima from the South African Tourism and Amanda Kotze-Nhlapo, who is the Executive Manager of the S.A National Convention Bureau. Good to have both of you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Diane.
Good. I mean, I cannot believe it was a year ago that we were standing almost in the same position talking about Meetings Africa. How was last year? Let's do a quick recap. Did things improve last year when it came to meetings, business meetings in the country?
Yeah, I think, from the formation of the National Convention Bureau, there's definitely movement in the country, exactly what you're saying, for us to come together and do this thing, and regional as well, not just for us in the big three cities, but also, then all over the country, because, business events is much more than just the conferencing. It's incentive travel, corporate travel, as well as exhibitions, and we see a big growth, in that. We just submitted our association figures, and it seems if we have, hosted at least 20 meetings more than last year.
Fantastic. Well, that's a huge growth, because 20 meetings more, what that means to South Africa is not just 20 meetings, that's a lot of revenue coming into the country. From tourism, the perspective of tourism, what does it mean to South Africa?
Well, from a contribution to GDP, those numbers are very big. Traditional numbers on leisure will be averaging about 8,900 spent per trip. But on the business event side, we almost doubled that number.
Wow.
In some instances, was at 16,000. So it does contribute very quickly. But the other very interesting thing when it comes to business events is the fact that each time you bring delegates to a country for a conference, they generally bring a spouse or partner with. 40% of delegates that come to this kind of meetings do bring a partner. Whilst you're having a meeting in the conference rooms, the partner or spouse will be taking a trip, an itinerary. That's what we want to do, actually, to make sure that we double the numbers as quickly as possible from a job creation point of view, from an economic contribution point of view.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea, and the spouse has got a full wallet as well, so they're going out there shopping and spending their money, which we want.
Yeah, I think if you look at the incentive travel, which is sponsored by corporates, the delegates themselves are not paying. So they have a lot of disposable income. So that's why it's very interesting for us. And most conferences, in fact, are paid for by someone else. So people come here with disposable income, and we make sure that we unleash them into the shopping centers of South Africa, and the African region must start benefiting from this kind of exercise.
Fantastic. The other thing I imagine, and what's so important, is the image of Africa, because when you have a business conference, you are seeing really what the best that a country has to offer. And that brings return visitors. How important is it to create the best image that you possibly can?
I think it is. When the association specifically, meetings rotate, and they first rotate to a continent, So when they make a choice, they go first for a continent and then to a country. For us, it's extremely important that we have a positive, can-do attitude. I think one of the important things is that we have the infrastructure, we have the technologies, and we host it. We have a track record of hosted big meetings, and that for us is really our CV. Just as we speak, the pediatric cardiology conference, 3,000 people is in Cape Town, conversing and, having their meeting there. And, that for us is extremely important. People have a positive take back. I always say, the one thing that I have to say about the continent, if you have a meeting on the continent, you have a different outcome. Yeah. It's pioneering, it's innovative, because it is just different. Our continent is just different, and South Africa is just different. So our image, very much the industry that needs to portray that, and like Meetings Africa is a place for us to showcase the services and what planners, when they come to the meetings, and what can they actually expect from our country, and it is extravaganza and very exotic, I think, as well, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Cape Town. We talk about South Africa being the first in South Africa as being, when it comes to hosting business meetings and conferences. Where in South Africa, though? Is it Cape Town coming out tops, or is it Johannesburg? Or Durban? There's the big question.
Indeed, the Cape Town is number one.
Okay.
And it's followed by Durban and then Johannesburg. All right. That's not amazing. That's because Cape Town, even from a leisure point of view, a lot of people always know Cape Town and the kind of options that Cape Town offers outside of the conference itself. The pre-conference and post-conference activities are very attractive. The wine routes, the Table Mountain, Robben Island, and all those kind of things offer uniqueness about our country and the continent as a whole.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm being biased, but I think South Africa's got so much to offer. It's unbelievable. You were saying that 37 is where we stand right now in the world when it comes to conferencing, but your gut tells you that we're going to move up quickly.
You know, I think the big thing is the opportunities that we have in Africa to actually grow meetings in Africa, you know, and rotate our meetings. You know, Europe is, for years, they are the #1 destination. And the reason for that is because 80 to 90% of their meetings are actually regional meetings, European Association meetings. And in Africa, we don't have that big number. We do have quite a lot of headquarters, African associations, and we did the African Association Day and brought out 50 associations to also talk to each other, but most of all to actually help us to rotate these meetings. Because if we can rotate it, we will definitely, you know, go up very quickly. So the potential on the continent is huge for us. And meetings bring so much more. So for us as a country, as a continent, it's very important that we actually get these numbers up. I do believe that the competition is fierce. You know, a few years ago, it was a few destinations that really compete in this. Now every place has a big conference center and, you know, is in this business. And therefore, they, you know, the competition is just. But if you think 37 with 400 destinations participating, I think it's quite good. But we have a good feeling. Either sustain it or, you know, at least go up a little bit.
Amanda, thank you very much. Thulani, thank you. It's just gone 6:45 here on Morning Live. Let's take a break. More.